Welcome to our webinar, Finishing Touches. We're excited to have all of you joining us today. My name is Christine Self with Parent and Family Relations, and joining me are Nicole Terrell and Jess Sanchez from Student Engagement. This webinar is part of our Red Raider Family webinar series, where we share information on topics of interest to parents, families, and supporters of our students. We hope that this webinar will help ease your mind with some last-minute reminders, talking points, and opportunities for your students as they begin the fall semester. We plan to keep the webinar to about 30 minutes or so. We hope to have time for questions at the end of the session, so feel free to use the Zoom Q&A feature to ask questions throughout the presentation, and we'll get to those. We'll also share our contact information so that you can follow up with us as needed. We are recording this session and posting it and the slides to our website so that you'll be able to review this information again later or share it with others. I'll also email the recording link to the email that you used when you registered for the webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to talk about some things like staying connected, both with the university and with your student. We'll share some housing, hospitality, and tuition reminders. I know some of you are interested in that information. We'll talk about student health and wellness and academic success. And then we'll get into Raider Welcome and some really great events to help keep your students engaged at the beginning of the fall semester, as well as some Transfer Connection and Tech Leadership Institute opportunities. We'll talk about your students' success specialists and how important they are to your students' success. And then we'll wrap up with some information about Family Weekend and holiday transportation. So first of all, we want you to connect with us. If you haven't already, please do sign up for our Parent and Family newsletter by visiting our website. Follow us on social media. Our most active accounts are going to be Instagram and YouTube, so be sure that you follow us there. We share lots of information. In fact, this webinar recording will live on our YouTube channel after this, and you can see some of our previous ones as well. So stay connected with us. We are always only a phone call or email away. If you need something, if you want to know more about how supporting your student from a distance. And so a couple of reminders about that. You know, a lot of your students have just moved in, or maybe they're about to move in. They may call you with, they're ready to come home because of their roommate or something like that. This takes a lot of patience and listening to your student. I know many of us, if you're like me, you're a fixer and you just want to jump right in and fix these issues for your student immediately. But try to hang back just a little bit and say, well, I'm sorry that's going on. What's your plan to handle that situation? And let them kind of talk through it with you. And then, of course, be ready to offer advice and support. I also tell a lot of families who are calling, just concerned about their student getting out there and making friends and making connections, not to panic. It does take time for our students to acclimate to their new home and to get comfortable and get out there making friends. It does take a while. So don't panic. Always feel free to call me or our assistant director, Morgan. We're happy to talk with you about some things you can talk to your student about. Many of you are curious about, some things regarding housing and dining for your students. So I wanted to share some reminders about that. So go ahead and save the date of September 21st. That is the 20th class day of the semester. And that is the last day to make a change to your student's meal plan. So talk to your student about how those dining bucks are holding up and if you need to make an adjustment. Many folks choose the middle plan and might need to change to a larger one if their student is eating more, or they might need to knock it down to the smaller one if they're not eating as much. So talk to your student about that, and again, save that date for September 21st to make those changes. But know that you can add dining bucks at any time. So don't panic. If your student is getting low on those dining bucks around Thanksgiving, it's not going to be a problem. You can always add those dining bucks. Also, students may move in and they notice an issue with their room. Housing has made it very simple for students to start a work order to get something fixed in their room. So they can go right to the housing website and click current residence and then fix it maintenance request. They will need their E-Raider login to access that fix it request, and that'll go right to the folks who can help. And then if you're not sure how to mail your student a package, On the housing website, they have a very easy to use mailing address generator that will provide the address that you might need for either USPS or FedEx or UPS or another carrier like that. So we've got the instructions on there. You just go to their website, again, click that current residence, and then there's the housing address, or hall addresses and mailing information link. It's super easy to use. All you'll need to know is your student's hall and their room number. All right. So tuition reminders, the deadline to have tuition paid or for your student to be enrolled in a payment plan is coming up very soon. That's going to be Monday, August 21st. Again, there are payment plans available. If some of your students may be waiting on some financial aid or things to apply to their accounts, hopefully that's already happened, but if it hasn't, you can enroll in an emergency payment plan. So the link that you see on your screen, the QR code, is going to take you to the how-to guide so that your student can add you as an authorized user so that you can view and pay the bill. There's also a how-to guide on enrolling in a payment plan. So scan that link if you're interested and follow those instructions, and that will get your students squared away for August 21st. Your students' well-being is very important here at Texas Tech, and you can see some resources there on the screen. Again, this entire slideshow is available for you on our website, so you can click these links and learn more specifically about these resources. But I just wanted to talk through some things that you might want to check in with your student about here at the beginning of the semester. Moving into a new residence is always challenging, so you might just keep tabs on how they're sleeping. I can remember when I lived in the residence hall, these many years ago, and I remember having trouble sleeping in my new bed. It was just different, and I got used to it very quickly, but at first that was a challenge. So you might just ask them, how are you sleeping now that you're living in the residence hall? Also encourage your student to get over there and use that rec center. They probably went over there during orientation, so hopefully they've gotten to look at it, but if they haven't, it's a great place for your student to not only work out, but hang out with other students. I would love to be on that lazy river right now. It's just a lot of fun. So make sure that your student checks that out. It'll help them relieve stress, stay fit, have a good time, and who doesn't want to soak up those rays out of that pool? And then talk to your student about eating healthy. And that could mean something different for everyone. If they have dietary restrictions, we do have a dietitian on campus who can help them figure that out and what their best options are. But just make sure they're eating regularly. They're not, skipping meals, those sorts of things. Just remind them about healthy eating. And then finally, some reminders. I call these gentle reminders for your student when it comes to academics. You can see on the screen, the biggest one is obviously go to class. It's hard to be successful as a student if you're not in class. And so that's definitely one of those gentle reminders you want to give to your student. The first day of your students' classes, they will get their course syllabus. So if you're not familiar with the syllabus, it's really just a document that your student will get from their instructor that has things like how to contact their instructor with questions. Do they have office hours? It'll have due dates and deadlines for all their assignments, what books they're going to need, those sorts of things. So, again, gentle reminder to your student, review and know your class syllabus for every one of your classes. That's going to have all the information that you need to, figure out when things are due and, what assignments are worth as far as the point total for the class. All that information is contained in that syllabus. Remind your students to get their books. A lot of our students will wait until after the first day of classes, which is completely fine. I always, remember back, again, these few years ago when I was a student, there were no ebooks. I had to go physically to a campus bookstore or something and purchase a book. And sometimes they might be low in stock or they might be out of a book. So to have your student not wait too long to get those books, but they can certainly order them online and use ebooks and certain things. But we don't want our students to go too long without getting them so that they're getting behind on their readings and their assignments. Many of you, when you registered for the webinar, I saw lots of questions in there that folks wanted to know about, planners and what your students should use to keep up with due dates and deadlines and exams and things. And so we definitely recommend that your student use some sort of planner, whether it's the physical one that you write in, or if it's something like Google Calendar that can send reminders to your student's phone. But whatever planner they use, go through those course syllabi and put those due dates and deadlines right in your planner. And if your students taking any online courses, just, remind them to stay engaged with those. If you know that they have, for example, a political science course that's online, you might just ask them every once in a while, how's that political science course going? Sometimes our students might focus more on their in-person classes and sometimes forget about those asynchronous kind of at your own pace type courses that are online. And then, of course, remind your student to utilize their student success specialists, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. And of course, their advisors. If they're, they get into the semester and they're not sure their major is correct for them, reach out to that advisor or our university advising department to have those conversations. So those are just a few talking points about academics. And now I'm going to turn it over to Nicole to talk about Raider Welcome.
Hi. Okay, Raider Welcome is currently going on right now. Raider Welcome is a series of fun and free events for students to attend that help them to make friends, get to know their roommates, learn about campus, traditions. There are a lot of things that happen in Raider Welcome, over 150 fun and free events for them. So currently going on right now and will continue until September 2nd. That calendar can be found at www.raiderwelcome.ttu.edu. And students can choose the categories that they want to look at. They can look by date, they can get more details. There are also printed Raider Welcome calendars in the student union building, and then the residence halls have them printed in there as well. So if they are looking for something to do, they want to get out, out of their room and make friends and learn more about Texas Tech, they should attend one of these events. I joke with students and I'm like, if you plan carefully, you won't need any groceries for the first, 2 weeks or whatever, because you can find a Raider Welcome event to go and get free food at. You can also find lots of free shirts and other free swag that they're giving out at those events. So Raider Welcome has something for everyone. There are student orgs, departments, and all kinds of people who are programming events and just telling you about the university and their new home. And so speaking of Raider Welcome, one of our big staple, or two of our big staple events here are Hub City Fest and Raider Roundup. Hub City Fest happens on Friday, August 25th. So classes for students start on the 24th. On the 25th, we have Hub City Fest. This is students like, welcome to Lubbock. More than 90% of our Texas Tech students are not from Lubbock. So we know that they're not just new to Texas Tech, but they're new to a whole new city as well. And they need to find where they're going to grocery shop. Where are they going to get their hair cut? What things are they going to do for fun outside of their academics? And that holistic student experience. We're wanting them to experience Lubbock. And so we'll have, it's actually looking like 90 something businesses, and they'll be in the parking lot and behind the band, behind the student union building or music building where the band practices. And those 90 plus businesses will set up booth spaces where they have interactive things for the students to do. They're giving away coupons or free things, some of them free food. We also will have food trucks so they can purchase food or snacks. Lots of fun stuff going on out there where they can just learn more about their new home and get free stuff. We give them a big laundry bag when they come into the event and they just fill it up with all their free things. And then on Sunday, so Friday Hub City Fest, Sunday Raider Roundup, that is the welcome to the Red Raider family. We do this out at Urbanofsky Park here on our campus, and there will be live music. We've got a big stage. Aiden Logston and the Outlaws are going to be playing. There's some local artists here in Lubbock, and then we'll have yard games going on out there so they can play cornhole or spike ball, go play volleyball, basketball. I mean, the students, there are 3,000, students in this area doing all kinds of fun things. And so they can come with their roommates or they can come alone and they can make friends there. There are also organizations or groups that do meetups and go to these events together. So if their students like, I don't want to go alone, maybe they can find a meetup and go with others. But at that event, we'll have free Whataburger. So that's normally a selling point for them. Come get some free Whataburger. We'll have Tiff's Treats cookies. And then we'll also have shirts that we're giving out that say Red Raider Family. And so, yeah, that is Sunday, August 27th from 7 to 9. And then just Raider Welcome in general. I also wanted to plug that Christine made a really cool video that I watched on their social media yesterday about Raider Welcome. It's called How to Raider Welcome. And it has lots of good tips so that you can, help your student navigate through that site and learn about things to do. Sometimes for them, it's just daunting. Like we have a lot that they can attend. And sometimes the quantity of that can be daunting. And so if you can help navigate them through the Raider Welcome schedule and, you should go to this specific event, maybe that would help them. I also want to plug that student engagement, my department, we are on social media at TTU Engagement, and we're posting about the events in our stories. So we do some event highlights and things there. And that's a good way to, maybe you follow us and you can send your student our story and say, hey, you should go to this event. Those things go a long way. Next, we have our transfer connection programming. So this is specific programming that we do for our transfer population. And we have within Raider Welcome, we do a transfer welcome week. So this starts the day before classes start, and we start out with personalized campus maps. They bring us their class schedule. We help map out where they're going to go, how they're going to get to their classes, if they should take a bus or ride a line, walk. We have our transfer ambassadors who discuss that with them. So these welcome week events are specific to that transfer population. We also have a welcome day and t-shirt swap. They bring a t-shirt from their previous institution and swap it out for a Texas Tech shirt. I've talked about Raider Roundup and Hub City Fest, but we have transfer meetups for those where they can go with a community of others who they may have some things in common with. So they'll meet up beforehand, do some get to know you stuff, and then go into the event together. Our Transfer Texans kickoff night, that's our student organization. And the kickoff is just kind of a preview of what the org is all about. We also have an amazing race where we take them to locations all over campus and they learn about different history and traditions. And then we're doing an information session. So if your student did not get to hear from us at their orientation, your transfer student didn't hear from us, they can come to an info session at this time where we'll talk about all the ways to get involved in our awesome transfer community. And one of those being, we do have a transfer leadership connection retreat coming up September 22nd through the 24th. Students have to register for that, and it is $50. But it is a ton of fun. It's an extended orientation, but really geared towards leadership for our transfer students. We have a lot of students who come and they tell us oh man, I sat in the parking lot and I watched the bus and I was like, I'm not going. And then they got on the bus and they made lots of friends and they're so grateful that they went. So this is just a cool experience for our transfers to create that community. And I am now going to hand it off to Jess, and she's going to talk to y'all about Tech Leadership Institute.
Hi, everybody. Tech Leadership Institute, also known as TLI, is an 8-week program, evening program for students that's designed to really help them develop those personal and professional skills so that they can be successful throughout their time here at Texas Tech, but also even after that. We think it's important for first-year students to do a program like this because as they're building experience, gaining job experience, they can continue to build on that foundation of skills and just continue to be great professionals as they go throughout and build on those during their time here. Students are admitted into the TLI program. So there is an application process the application is due on September 6th. But they meet weekly for 2 hours during the semester. And each week they discuss a different topic of leadership that's taught in small groups and in discussions and activities with some peer mentors who are graduates of the program and then have gone on to be leaders on campus. And truly, this is just a phenomenal program. It's in both the fall and the spring, but this is a great way for students to make friends. Yes, they gain a lot of skills, but they spend time in a small group over 8 weeks. And so they could quite possibly leave this program with some really deep, great relationships and lifelong friends. And so I would really encourage your student to do this. This is during the semester. It's not a credit course. It's just an 8-week extracurricular program, but one that is worthwhile. So now moving on to something else that goes on during the semester, we have student success specialists. This is really a person who can provide wraparound anytime support for your students. They are focused on supporting your student success both in and out of the classroom. This person does not replace the academic advisor or a mental health professional by any means, but they are here really to kind of complement that and help students get connected to the resources at Texas Tech to help them be just successful academically, professionally, and then personally, however the student sees. These success specialists are embedded within each of the colleges. So if you've never heard of this resource, for those of you who have students who are already here at Texas Tech, your student also has a student success specialist in their college. So this is a relatively new resource that just started last January. So we'd love your help in getting the word out and getting students in their offices to really just talk about anything from time management to finding resources, getting involved on campus, or even just have someone on this campus to listen to, some of the struggles that they may be going through. This person is a great just ear to hear, to just provide a listening ear to help those students. So they can make an appointment with the success specialist on Raider Success Hub. And I've provided a link here so that they can go and find who their success specialist is. So you'll see one for every single college and maybe multiple for other colleges, like engineering has 3, for instance. So anyway, we're just here to help your students. We want to listen to what they've got going on and just give them the help they need and help them be successful here on campus. And now I'll pass it back on to Chris. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, thank y'all for sharing those wonderful opportunities for our students to get involved as the semester starting. So I wanted to share with you as we kind of wrap up just a couple of reminders about some things going on a little bit later in the semester. So we do have Family Weekend coming up very soon. It's going to be September 29th through 30th when Texas Tech plays Houston. Now, I do have to report that the football tickets are already sold out. This is the very first time that we've ever had so much excitement about Texas Tech football and Family Weekend that we've sold out before classes started. So if you didn't get tickets to the football game, don't worry. There's still lots of really fun, even free activities that go on during Family Weekend. The most important thing about Family Weekend is not the football game, it's visiting your student. So know that you can still do that. Just because those tickets are sold out does not mean that we don't want you to still come to Family Weekend. But do also know that if going to that football game is really what you want to do with your student, there are still other single game tickets available, including the homecoming game. So you might want to go to texastech.com and check out what single game tickets are still available and come a different weekend. So feel free to do that as well. If Family Weekend or homecoming or another weekend is not convenient for your family, we would still love for you to come visit your student when it's convenient for you. And so you can check out our Family Days calendar. That QR code and link that you see on your screen right there will take you to the calendar of all the things going on in the semester that we've kind of looked at and thought would be great for families. A couple of examples I've put on the screen here are the First Friday Art Trail. Whichever First Friday it is, year round, rain or shine, we have this great opportunity for you to come and see the Lubbock art scene, taste some food from food trucks, hear live music. Our students really love that event. And I feel like our first year students don't often feel confident to go to that by themselves since it's off campus. And so if you as a family member took them to it, they would probably really love it. We also have, and now this is at the very end of the semester, but we have our Carol of Lights on December 2nd. That's on a Saturday this year. It's a really beautiful ceremony we light up the entire campus with holiday lights. We'll hear performances from our choirs and others. This year is kind of going to wind up our centennial year. So it promises to be a huge celebration. So that might be another thing that you'd like to attend. And then I also wanted to share with you, even though the semester is just now getting started, classes haven't even begun yet, it is definitely time to start thinking about transportation home for Thanksgiving. And so if your student does not have a car with them or you don't want them to be driving by themselves during Thanksgiving, Break Shuttle is one option to get your student home. Tickets are not on sale just yet. However, you can go to the website that you see on the QR code will take you to and sign up for updates. That way, when tickets go on sale, you'll get an email directly from Break Shuttle. And then, of course, Parent and Family Relations will promote this on our social media and in our newsletter as well. If you're thinking about flying your student home for Thanksgiving, go ahead and get on it. Do know that your student may tell you they have an entire week off for Thanksgiving. However, there are classes scheduled for Monday and Tuesday of the week of Thanksgiving. So talk to your student about that. Some of your students, instructors may have certain attendance policies that don't require them to be there, but know that those are official class days. So don't plan on having them come home the weekend before Thanksgiving and them not missing classes. Just a word to the wise on that. All right, so that's all the information that we're sharing, but we want to answer your questions. So we have a few minutes left. So please use that Zoom Q&A feature and ask questions. And so what I'm seeing right now, and anybody can answer this one, but do students get free or automatic entry to the football games? The answer, oh, Nicole unmuted. Maybe she's got an answer for you.
Students get into all the sporting events with their Texas Tech student ID. So they'll just enter through the student entrance, which they can ask other and follow the groups of students do that. And yeah, they just scan their student ID to get into the game. And then they have a certain section that they sit in with other students.
And along with that, like if you are wanting to come to a football game with your student, but you want them to sit right next to you, you would need to buy them a ticket to sit with you. So just keep that in mind too, if you're coming to a football game. And then here we have a question, and I can answer this one. Are students required to leave the dorm the entire Thanksgiving break? The answer to that is no, they are not required to leave for Thanksgiving break. So if your student's unable to get home or wants to stay in Lubbock, maybe they're working here in town, that is completely fine. They can stay during Thanksgiving break. And then we have another question here. Can you review how to obtain the student's mailing address? So you'll need to know the student's residence hall, the name of their residence hall, and their room number. And then I'll put in the chat the link for the address generator for you. So it's just really simple. You can, and I have a hard time typing and talking at the same time for some reason, but I'm working on getting that link in here. But you can definitely just type in their hall and their room number, and it'll generate the address, whether you're mailing USPS or FedEx, etc. So I've just put that link in there for you.
Mm-hmm. It'll even make like a sample label address for you once you generate it. And so it's super easy and just a really cool feature that they've added. So I didn't know about that before this year. And so just really awesome.
And here's one about Raider Roundup. Nicole or Jess, can you speak to this? It says, sorry if it was already said, but it's there one place to find all the student events such as the Raider Roundup?
Yes. So there's quite a few places. So you can look on our website. Our website, you can go and find all of the Raider Welcome events. The students can also follow us on Instagram at TTU Engagement. You can also follow us on Facebook too. We've put the link to let them know about, to click and be able to search those on our website. The calendar is really interactive. They can select which track if they're looking for specific events. But they're also in the Student Union building are 3 large calendars that students can go and look at each day and see what the events are.
I was also going to add that throughout the year, they can look at Texas Tech events. I just Googled Texas Tech events. They probably have a fancy URL, I could tell you, but that's how I get there. So they can look at that and find events going on. It's not all encompassing, like departments have to post their events there. But I think a lot of us do post our events there so they can check events at Texas Tech. as well.
Tech Announce is also a really great one. Students every day at 11 a.m. will receive an email called Tech Announce, and a lot of campus departments utilize that as a way to send out messages about what events are coming up or job opportunities or research studies they can participate in. So Tech Announce is also a really great place.
That's an excellent reminder to talk to your student about making sure they're checking their Texas Tech email regularly so they don't
Yes.
miss anything. We are just about at 12:30. I do have one other question I just want to answer live, but then we're going to keep typing answers to your questions. So keep them coming. Someone said you mentioned the game is sold out for family weekend for the student section as well, or will students still be able to have access to the game? We're not talking about the student section. So students can still go to the game. They just swipe their ID. So that should not be an issue for family weekend. Well, again, we are at time and I want to respect everyone's time. So I am going to stop the recording, but keep your questions coming. Jess, Nicole, and I will stay behind for a little bit and just keep typing answers to your questions using the Q&A feature. So thank you all for joining us. We do have a quick survey we would love for you to fill out. It's just maybe 2 questions just to kind of help us know how we did today. And then you can see our contact information on your screen. I'll follow up with you all a little bit later today with the link to where you can find the recording and the slides, as well as check out some of our previous webinar recordings if you'd like to do that. And stay tuned, we will be adding webinars this fall. I know that currently we are working on a webinar with for study abroad and for Raider Success Hub. So watch for those and have a great rest of your day.